Jesus is the lighthouse. And from the rock was hid. And shone his light of love around me. And I really see just what it wasn't for the lighthouse. Turn your Bible to Exodus and stay in the Holy Ghost. You can speak and speak silently to yourself and to God. If you still want to speak in tongues, it's all right. Just speak silently to yourself and to God while I'm with you. And when we get through preaching, raise the Bible. Exodus, may God bless the reading of His word. Just a short word of exhortation. These are the last days, and I'm learning. I've learned the lesson so well, and I hope I've learned it well enough. That if you're not careful, you will spend years of your life walking around in circles, never accomplishing the things you say you want to accomplish. You may say today I will do this, and then 3 years later you still haven't done it. And not all of us, but many of us have been victims of that. I, for one. It's amazing how life and time keeps on going. And yet we're constantly moving, but we're going nowhere. And that's because we're not accomplishing anything that we set out to do. How many people have made the statement that I never accomplished anything? You have a desire and a hope, and you feel good about it. But by the week it's over with, that flame is gone. You don't carry it out for one reason or another. Well, I learned, and I pray that I learned, that with breaking the circle and going forward, there has to be sacrifices made. And you have to have faith and trust that God can help you. Because sometimes you have to let go of certain things. Things that you are accustomed to. Habits and ways that you're used to. But you have to examine your life and say, what is it that's keeping me from accomplishing or going forward? And when you pinpoint these things, you have to adjust. And it takes a sacrifice because many times when you make that adjustment, you're letting go of your will. Not because the reason why we're not accomplishing these things is because we're governed by our will. We don't feel up to it, we don't do it. We don't feel the drive, we don't do it. We let other things get in the way, so we go in that direction. It's all on us. It's all on us. And then we have to understand, Spirit of the Lord is upon me. Then we have to understand there's a difference in desiring something and then having the willingness to bring it to pass. You can have desires all the days of your life and never see them come to pass. You die with your desires. But unless you have a mind to work, a mind to bring that thing into existence, it'll never come. And you don't always look for opportunity in life. Sometimes you have to make opportunity. You have to pave the way. And sometimes the path that's in between you and that is not always pleasant, but that doesn't mean it's not for you. The Bible says that when I was a young man, I used to love the scripture. I used to, in St. Louis, in the home of living, I used to be down at the basement quoting the scripture stuff with me. How they said that God is able to cause that which is not to be. I said, Lord, you mean to tell me that which is not in existence, we can cause it to be? Well, the world was in existence and He spoke it. And it came forth. You have some people that teach the power of life is in the power of the tongue. That is true, but they take it a little bit too far. I'm not going to die because I said I'm not. Now, that's not what it means. In other words, we shall be judged by the words we speak, and we shall be condemned. And by speaking words of power and words of faith, we can accomplish things. But in my midlife, senior citizen, whatever you want to call it, if I were to tell you, if you were to say, what are one of the most important things in your life? Outside of Christ, of course, right? And that is, if you're young and you are a procrastinator, if you are young, and you're younger than me, or you're my age, and you've said a lot of things that you've never ever accomplished. If you are one who never completes a task, or your words carry no weight with you, change that. I will tell you to understand the importance of time, that it does not wait. I will tell you, I want you to understand that life will pass you by so fast, you won't even realize it, and you'll be in the same place. I will tell you, don't continually live in a circle. Break the circle and go forward. Pay attention to what you say and to what you do. Pay attention to the habits you have in life. If they have not caused you to go forward, you need to change something. If your way of thinking has not caused you to prosper and be in good health, as your soul prospers, you need to change some things. And you want to be balanced in life. Because as a minister, I have to say, you keep God first. I preached a message when we were in the hotel a few years ago. And I preached it. And I ended it with a certain statement. And I was sitting down talking with the saint. Maybe 4 years later. And they said, Bishop, there's a tape, a CD or something that I think would be interesting. And they kept telling me, you need to watch it. I finally watched it. I said, this is pretty good. I didn't mess up. And when the sermon ended with that last statement, my mouth dropped wide. What? And my heart smote me. That was 4 years ago. And when they made that last statement, I was in the exact same place, doing the exact same thing. And my heart smote me. I didn't even realize 4 years had passed. And I had walked in a complete circle when I said I was going forward. It smoked my heart. I made some drastic changes. Years ago, I was writing a journal. I'm even ashamed to say this, but I need you to know, in case the Lord take me home, don't waste time. Get your priorities straight. Keep God first and build everything around it, but you got to go forward. Yes. Because tomorrow's not promised. The Bible teaches us, and it ain't finna wait on you. I wrote in a journal, and I was saying, Lord, I was in my 20s, something like that. I said, Lord, what am I missing? Preacher, I said, I'm missing something. What is it? He brought me into the church with the miraculous. It increased as I did. I said, well, what am I missing? Am I not walking brave enough? I was only a young man. You know, walk as old as you, I guess. But then I heard him say, you're too idle. He didn't say you were a whoremonger or a liar or a cheater. He said you're too idle. Now, when you're being idle, you get in a lot of trouble. But he said I was too idle. So I wrote that down in my journal, 1985. That's when he showed me the future that I would be preaching around the world. He showed me that in 1985. And it was manifested years later. People bear witness to it that were in my dreams. And I wrote it down. God said I was too idle. Sometimes we want God to speak, but when he speaks, we don't hear it. And sometimes God speaks and shows us what we need, but we don't have the strength to fulfill it. but he did show it to us. So preacher, I decided to write again. I picked up my journal, and I'm about to write it. Let me go ahead and tell about my adventures and my travel, the things that I've been through. And when I opened it up, I turned to the last page. This is 20 years later. I turned to the last page, and with tears in my eyes, I have to tell you, the last page said you're too idle. I never wrote in that book again. Oh, by this time I done finished the pages. I felt so convicted. You mean to tell me all this time went by and I never picked that pencil up and wrote in that book again? God never lies. You see, you can be busy and still be idle. Being idle, as I looked it up, doesn't necessarily mean not doing anything. But being idle also means you're not doing that which is of most importance. You're doing a lot of things, but not where it makes a difference. And a lot of us are idle. We're busy, but we're yet idle. Because in our being busy, our priorities are not where they should be. And we're not accomplishing the things in life that we should, the things that can really edify us, some of us. So because you're busy doesn't mean you're not idle. We can be busy sometimes in the wrong thing. And now I had to, those of you that are around my age, I had to go through a crisis. So now I'm saying, Lord, I don't want to leave here and get nothing. Did I waste time? I tried to find some way out of this. Did I waste time? What did I do all these years? But I was in the wilderness, and he did show me how I was being purged. And it was after that I stepped out on faith and been around the world 10 times now. And yet I can still see a trail there. You have to be careful. And so I've been fighting that ever since, pushing forward, because I know, thank God when he said we can redeem the time. When you put it back in God's hand, he can make up for anything you might have overlooked. Moses had to run for 40 years. He just knew he was the one who would lead them out. And he was. But the timing was wrong. He had to leave for 40 years. Somebody says the man done wasted his life. But at the age of 80, he came back. When he left at the age of 40, it was just him running for his life. He ran into Media, met a priest, married a daughter, and became a shepherd. I could imagine the agony and the pain. I just wasted my life. Lord, I messed up. But when 40 years later, God spoke to him and said, I'm going to send you back. And so, son, he waited 40 years, and it seemed like he wasted his time, but God can redeem the time. He left 40 years ago with nothing. He come back 40 years later at the age of 80 and was made shepherd over 2 million people. From keeping the sheep to ruling God's people. God can redeem the time. If you feel as though my life is wasted, put it in the hands of God. He can fill in that emptiness. He can restore what the cankerworms and the grasshoppers have eaten up. He restored Job double what he lost. See, God can restore the time. He can renew. And if we've lost anything, he can give it back plus some. That's right. He can help us make up for lost years. In other words, he can help us get on track of where we should be. He can do that, but you got to have a mind to work. You got to have a mind to want to move forward. I keep feeling the virtue, and I can't stress it. Stop saying what you're going to do, but never do it. You're walking around in a circle. 3 years from now, you'll be saying the exact same thing. Situation may change, your environment may change, might be in a different corner, different house, with different people, but your attitude will be the same. And you will have accomplished nothing that you said you would do. That's what I would tell you. Redeem the time. Make the best of your time. Make the best of it. Don't be one that says and never do. You'll waste your whole life. And I'm only talking because I'm a preacher. I'm talking in righteousness. You got to put God first. Even if I wasn't a preacher, I'd have to tell you as a Christian. If you don't put God first, it's in vain anyway.
That's right.
Because what is the profit of man to gain the whole world but do what? You lose your own soul. So what good is it to work hard all day long just to, all your life just to lose your soul? You mean you done lived in this world 60, 75, 80 years to lift your eyes in hell? Are you serious? That's what you live for? That's wasting time. Read it quickly. Exodus 36. It won't be long. Start at verse 1.
Then wrought Bezalel and Aholiab and every wise-hearted man, in whom the Lord put wisdom and understanding to know how to work all manner of work for the service of the sanctuary.
This is Moses and the children of Israel in the sanctuary, in the wilderness, and God is instructing Moses to build the sanctuary. Now the beautiful thing about that scripture we just read is that he named a few men, right? And he said these are men whom God has put wisdom in to be able to work things. Then this is what I do as a shepherd sometimes. You ever wonder how sometimes our children can jump up on those instruments overnight? Seems like they don't know how to play them overnight. It's because I look for children whom God has put wisdom in. They're talented. All you got to do is see if it's in them and put them straight. The Holy Ghost will help them go from there. I look for church members that have certain wisdom to do certain things. And then I go to them and I put them in that position so their gifts can shine to the word of God. Because God puts in certain people a wisdom, ability. It's like a scout. I look for people's abilities, God-given abilities that can be utilized for the kingdom of God's sake. And even in personal counseling, I talk with people and I try to see where their strong tricks, and sometimes they don't know it's there, but I see it. You know how many managers we got in this local congregation? Even like y'all folks are managers, supervisors. We've got over 14 of them, managers. So evidently, in this spirit here, we raise up stewards. But I look for ability. We need people that have the eye of the scout, that can see the good in you when you can't, by the power of God. And I look for these things. And I say, maybe you do good here. Hey, you do good here. This is what God said to Moses. Pick you out men that I put wisdom in to do certain things. There's a difference in being able to do it and want to do it. Okay? If you just want to do it, let those that are gifted to do it, let them take the lead, support them with a gift of help. But right now, I'm looking for people whom God has put wisdom in to do certain things. I feel a virtue. I feel a virtue. Pay attention to me, because I feel something. I must be talking to somebody somewhere. I feel a virtue. This is very important. Amen. You see, this is very important that you learn to know what God has put in you. It can help you even guide your life, make decisions. It encourages you because you put yourself in a position where you feel not anything against God, but you feel liberty. And you will shine. You will go for it. You will go face all the obstacles and everything because God put it in you. Read.
According to all that the Lord had commanded. And Moses called Bezalel and Aholiab and every wise-hearted man, in whose heart the Lord had put wisdom, even everyone whose heart stirred him up to come unto the work to do it. And they received Moses all the offering, which the children of Israel had brought for the work of the service of the sanctuary, to make it withal. And they brought yet unto him free offerings every morning. And all the wise men that wrought all the work of the sanctuary came every man from his work which they made.
Now, though tithing was instituted to the Jews, here they didn't want tithing. They wanted the free will offering. He was building the sanctuary. He wanted people to give from the heart. And they began to bring. Read.
And they spake unto Moses, saying, the people bring much more than enough for the service of the work, which the Lord commanded to make. And Moses gave commandment, and they caused it to be proclaimed throughout the camp, saying, let neither man nor woman make any more work for the offering of the sanctuary. So the people were restrained from bringing.
I wonder how many pastors would do that today. They made their quota. They had enough. With the free will offering, they gave enough, and God, and this is what God said, and Moses said, Tell us enough. I don't think many bishops would like to preach that. We got enough. I feel a virtue. We have enough. So they got enough. They have what they need. See, even an offering taking people is not based on greed. It's based on need.
Amen.
So they praise the Lord. And you have to trust us on that. You see what I'm saying? We have certain quotas that we look for that can cover, and even the highest quota right now that we look for, if it's all given, at the end of the month we come out with a zero balance. No spending money, no nothing. Zero balance. And I often say, my God, sometimes we've been blessed in abundance and still come out with a zero balance. But then all I can remember is what God said, he that has much got nothing left over. Why? Because that much is based on need, not greed. Amen. You understand what I'm saying? When they gave the manna, God said the family that has a lot, get a big pot. The family that has a little, get the size you need. And he said, don't collect for the next day. Right. Only collect what you need for the day. Now some didn't believe that, so they collected a little extra. And when they decided to get up the next day to eat the leftovers, the Bible said they had turned to worms. Because the scripture says, give us this day our daily bread. You're trying to heat today for tomorrow always, it's going to turn to worms. You're not going to see it. I feel a virtue, you see? I feel a virtue. So that's why when we always say we have a little ways to go to that certain quarter we try to reach, and maybe y'all have to pray for me for being so honest, you know. But it's really based on need. Amen. I ain't got to the greed. It's based on need, and believe me, it all goes. Now, this is why I read that, because this is what we need. Nehemiah chapter 4. Let's read it real quick, and we'll call it quits. Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 1.
But it came to pass.
It came to pass.
That when Sanballat heard that we builded the wall, he was wroth, and took great indignation, and mocked the Jews. And he spake before his brethren and the army of Samaria, and said, what do these feeble Jews? Will they fortify themselves? Will they sacrifice?
The Jews had been taken captive, but God had prophesied that they would be able to return to Jerusalem and rebuild the walls that were destroyed by the enemy. And it came to pass. Nehemiah would come back and they would begin to rebuild the walls again, the structures. And the enemies around them would mock them. What are they trying to do? I feel a virtue. They're trying to establish the walls again. What are these evil Jews trying to do? They're trying to rebuild the walls and separate themselves again. What's evil about trying to restore yourself? What's evil with trying to build things up around you and to strengthen yourself? This is what they were doing. They were trying to rebuild the temple and rebuild the wall and fix up the city of God that was torn down. And this is where we're at now. What are you doing, Bishop? I'm trying to rebuild the walls. But them that are in the flesh are going to cause evil. You got an attitude. Oh, you all acting funny now. No, I'm trying to rebuild the wall. Trying to fill in the breaches, the holes that are in the wall, trying to make it solid again, praise God, so that we don't have to be scattered or be destroyed by sin and reproach. And the enemy mocked them. What are these sinful Jews trying to be more righteous than thou? No, they're trying to restore the city of God. They're trying to rebuild the city of God. Church, say praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Read.
Will they fortify themselves? Will they sacrifice? Will they make an end in a day? Will they revive the stones out of the heaps of the rubbish which they are burned? Now Tobiah the Ammonite was by him. And he said, even that which they build, if a fox go up, he shall even break down their stone wall.
Can you hear the critics of those who try to pull you down simply because you try to stand up? Because you make up in your mind that you want to go right, go straight, and better your life. And all of a sudden everybody around you begins to criticize. But when you were up and down, in and out, everything was fine. You ain't got no problem. Don't even worry about it. We're all human. But when you decide to strike, I feel a virtue. My God, I feel a virtue. Somebody must have had this type of conversation. I feel it so strong. Somebody, you've been talking to somebody like this, or somebody has said this to you, or either it come out your mouth. Because I feel it. I felt that so strong. We're all human, and we all make mistakes. Yeah, this is what they want to tell you. Amen. But they forget to tell you that we want to be like him. We want to walk like Christ. We want to do that which is pleasing to God. Don't let somebody, because you decide you want to get your life right, watch out for the critics that try to get you to stay in the same old position you're in.
That's right.
Stay in the same sin, the same frame of mind, trying to hold you back. And sometimes, let me tell you something, people may be your friend, but sometimes they'll tell you stuff because they know you can make it, but they don't want you to.
Come on now.
They deliberately tell you stuff to hinder you.
That's right.
Because they ain't ready to change. They're not ready to come out. But it's time to build the wall. They're going to criticize you if you begin to make a stand against that which has been holding you down. Amen. When you start declaring, amen, your sins and your bad habits and the things that come against you, your enemy, they're going to turn on you. But you have to build that wall. You have to feel the virtue. You have to make a change if you expect to get anywhere and go forward. Don't let anybody get you to be satisfied with the flesh. We're all human. Don't you know to be carnal-minded is death? To be human-minded is death. And yes, we are all human. But the book of Titus told us that the grace of God has come and it teaches us to deny ungodly lust in this world. And then here comes one man saying, look, oh, they can build a wall, but if a fox comes here and knock it down, you can go, you ain't going to make nothing. You ain't going to make it. You can't do it. Ain't no sense in you even trying. And that's what the devil tells you. Then it gets to putting other people in there. What they going to say about you? It ain't about them. It's about you getting right with God. Then you get mad at everybody. They put me down. Ain't nobody saying nothing to you yet. You say what you're hearing in your head. Spirit of the enemy. And then you do have people that walk with him, trying to discourage you. I think I'm a trifler. You can't do this. How do you know I can't do it? How do you know what my capabilities are? Or even they hope the worst for you. The man said, hey, and if they do build it, why can't you bless me sometimes? Why can't you bless somebody sometimes? Why is it that your first remark is always negative? Why are you so critical when people try to help you or correct you? Why do you always have a defense? And the guy said if they do build a wall, a fox will come and knock it down. It ain't going to stand. Read.
Hear, O our God, for we are despised, and turn their reproach upon their own head, and give them for a prey in the land of captivity. And cover not their iniquity, and let not their sin be blotted out from before thee. For they have provoked thee to an anger before the builders. So built we the wall.
Nehemiah said, Lord, you hear what they're saying? Let them reap what they sow. The same word they put out, let them come back on them. Let them feel the weight of their own words. Now, what would you be? How would you feel if God let you feel the weight of all your words? I'm just asking. He said, but still, he prayed the prayer, and we joined together, and we still. Am I making sense? I'm just talking. We still built the wall. Through all the criticism, through all the negative things, through all the opposition, Lord, I still pressed you.
Yes.
I still continued in what I felt you wanted me to do. Lord, we still built that wall.
Thank you, Jesus.
Nothing around us was positive. But God, we still built. We gave all that we had. We put everything into it with a free will heart. Freely we gave. And we still built that wall. Somebody may say, well, how did they build it? Well, the scriptures would tell us. Read.
So we built the wall, and all the wall was joined together unto the half thereof. For the people had a mind to work. That's how they built it. Everybody's mind was in the same place. God gives us people who have a mind for the gospel. This is what I'm looking for now. People whom God has put wisdom in, and those whom God has put in them a mind to work for the gospel. God, there's some people in here who are willing to receive a mind in God. They won't put you to the side, but they will give their mind unto you. I feel a virtue. Give us people who will give freely for the work, and those who have a mind
The Holy Ghost is calling for talents and ability that will give their abilities and their mind to you for the gospel. Read.
But it came to pass that when Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabians and the Ammonites and the Ashtites heard that the walls of Jerusalem were made up, and that the preachers began to be stopped, then they were very wroth, and conspired all of them together to come and to fight against Jerusalem and to hinder it.
When these people heard that the walls were being built up, breaches or the holes in the walls were being mended, and the wall was coming together. When these people heard, amen, that Bishop was trying by the Holy Ghost to purge the church, trying to get everybody to walk upright, trying to get everybody that will have a mind of Christ, to live upright, speak the same thing, walk by the same rule, amen. The enemy got upset. Now they want to fight. Because you can't do what you want to do when you want to do it. Well, let's get it on. Because the wall will be built. Church say, praise the Lord. You see, when you start building a wall, you find out who your enemies are, you find out who your neighbors are.
Say that.
When you start building a wall. When you start making resistance and making a stand, you find out what everything is and who everything is and what is around you.
That's right.
Church say, praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
If you don't believe it, build a wall. You build a wall.
Amen.
Read.
Nevertheless, we made our prayer unto our God.
When these spirits tried to hinder us, when these people came against us, we started praying. When I felt burdened, Nehemiah, what you do? I started praying. Because we needed God's help to continue this. Read.
And set a watch against them day and night because of them. And Judah said, the strength of our bearers of burdens is decayed, and there is much rubbish, so that we are not able to build a wall.
Now read verse 8 again.
And conspired all of them together to come and to fight against Jerusalem and to hinder it.
That's the hidden spirit you felt in here earlier. See, because the demons know I'm building a wall. You got, and I'm putting out rebukes. And so the hidden spirits came. But you see, couldn't stand. Because I prayed. Those of you that are sensitive, you felt the hidden spirit. Because the demons are mad. They come to slow down the process, to stop it. It can't be stopped. I said it can't be stopped. It can't be stopped. Because this is of the Lord. Well, our time is short, and I am not going to spend 20 more years standing in the same place. I'm going to finish my course. Because they put up, I feel a virtue. My God. My God. I'm going to finish my course. I don't know how King said it, but I'll say it. I'm going to reach the promised land. I'm not going to say I might not reach it with you. I'm going to say you might not reach it with me. Because I'm going to reach it.
Come on now.
Now you might not be there.
Come on now.
But I'm going to be there. And this is not a dream. This is a reality. Hallelujah to God. I'm going to be there. I'm going to build the wall. The reason why some of these people were angry is because they were on the other side of the wall. So whenever the Holy Ghost tries to raise up a standard, you get angry it's because you're on the other side of the standard. You feel left out and nobody else feels left out. I feel a virtue. Now, people, the Holy Ghost will tell you, you all get angry, the saints get angry. Your anger is nothing. But when the Holy Ghost rises up, and then he puts that anger working through the ministry, now you're in trouble. Don't ever think you're bad enough or tough enough, man or woman, to stand against a Holy Ghost ministry. Don't ever think that that's the biggest mistake you could make. To think, I'm mad now, and you think you can stand against the power of God, you better be blessed you can walk up out of here. You better be blessed you wake up in your right mind. And I know what I'm saying. I've seen it happen. Who are we? Preachers, who are we? Are we big and bad preachers? Who are we? Let an angel of the Lord appear with a sword and you see how bad we are. David slew a giant, did he not?
That's right.
But when they were bringing the Ark of the Covenant into the land, and the man, they put the cart on, they put the Ark of the Covenant, which represented the presence of God, that chase, and they put it on top of a cart, and they had 2 oxen. Brand new cart with brand new oxen. We're going to carry God in style. They found out that God don't want you to carry him in style. You see how everybody said we need to change the gospel up? He don't want you to change it up. He wants you to do it in obedience, the spirit and truth. But they're going to carry the ark of God in style when God said the only way the ark can be carried is 4 preachers. The ark was 4 square, a chest, and it had 2 circles on it, on each end. And they would take a stick and stick it through there. And 4 preachers would carry it, Levites. Because God wanted the ministry to carry the word. But now they're going to get a brand new cart, brand new oxen, brand new Mercedes, Cadillac. Put the thing on there, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. They're going to be modernized, carry the ark in a modern way. And as the oxen were walking, they stumbled, and the ark looked like it was going to fall. And the man driving it said, oh my God, the presence of God is falling. And he went to catch it. And when he caught it, he found out that you can't help God up, he helped you up. When he went to catch it, and which one of us would not have? I was just trying to help because you're trying to help, don't make it right.
That's right.
We got to worship God in spirit and in truth. Anybody know that story? The presence of God. This represented the presence of God. This thing stood behind the Holy of Holies. No man could approach it. And when it was about to fall, this man went and he touched it and he was struck down dead. God said, you can't force yourself on me. You can't force your will on me. You don't tell me how to be, I tell you how to be. God says, you don't tell me how to do it, I tell you how to do it. You better feel that power of God. You don't tell God what to do, he tells us what to do. God says, I'm not changing my thing for you. I don't care what you thought was a good thing. My word doesn't change. Who do we think we are? That man dropped dead. And nobody said anything because everybody knew what the word said. Only the Levites could carry this thing. And a plague went out. Now David killed the giant. But when he saw that angel that was causing that plague, the Bible said David saw that angel. David said, I'm afraid of God. The mighty David said, I'm afraid of God. They took the ark and put it into the home of another priest to see what was going to happen. Sometimes you better let the spiritual do it first. But when his house got blessed, then David said, let's go back and get it. A lot of y'all would have got mad at God. God did this, God did that, but tell the truth, you were wrong. But you get mad at God for it. You were wrong, and you know you were wrong. David knew he was wrong. As mighty as he was, he couldn't touch it. But when he went back to get it, all the musicians were playing. This time, please give me 4 Levites. Y'all.
That's right.
I know I'm king. I'm a man of God's own heart. But you know, carry that thing. Know your place.
That's right.
God's word doesn't change. I know God loves me, but he doesn't love me that much for me to break his words and he followed me. And they picked that thing up, and that's when the scripture was written. When we sing the song, I want to dance, David danced. That's when the scripture was written, and David danced till his clothes fell off. Church say, praise the Lord. And still, his wife up there got mad. Some people still won't get mad when you do it right. But the spirit ain't right. But I said that to say this. Ain't none of us that big and bad. That we want to vex the Holy Ghost. Who do you think you are? I don't know, son. I don't know. I'm finna close it. Who do we think we are to think that we can say we love Jesus and then do what we want to do when this is his church, his body? And Lord have mercy. I was standing in Dixie Hill one day. Well, Peter Street, going on Peter Street. I was standing. And son, out of nowhere, I hit the ground. Every limb in my body gave out. To this day, I don't know why. A few years later, at the tent. I was in Dixie Hill standing, and the same thing happened. I just went down. Somebody say, well, what's the moral of that story?
What's the moral of that story?
I'm glad you asked. I learned that I'm only walking because he let me. I'm only standing because he let me. You only breathing because he let me. Because at any moment you can drop and it's nothing. Nothing you can do. But we want to walk like we did. Lord, give me a mind to work through. Give me a mind to get free. Give me a mind to build the wall. Help me to rebuild that wall that I may walk upright. Give me a mind to overlook the tricks. And give me a mind to stand against all the hindrances that will stop me from bettering my life for you. I don't want to keep walking around in a circle. I don't want the enemy to come and destroy me. Lord, help me build the wall so that the city of God can stand strong, so that I can fulfill the word of the Lord that spoke with all boldness. Upon this rock I'll build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail. I'm tired of the gates of hell prevailing against me. I must be on the wrong rock. Help me to stand on that rock that is greater than I. That rock that says you better fall on it to be broken, because if it falls on you, it'll dash you to pieces. Lord, I will rebuild the wall. I must rebuild the wall that I'm falling down. The walls of God's holiness. The walls of the Holy Ghost. The walls of righteous living. And I'm afraid that the hindrances don't stop me. Oh, I hear the talk. I see the frustration. But I'm going to build that wall. They're only frustrated because they're on the other side. When the enemy rushes in like a flood, the Bible says the Spirit of God will do what? He will raise a standard in the wall. He'll raise a standard. Where's your standard? How's it coming about? How come enemy coming at you, but he's taking you every which way but loose? That's never a standard. Somebody said, when he came in and drove, what was the standard? God said, don't take his life. Don't take his life. That was the standard. He'd have killed him if he could. But he couldn't. No matter what he did, he couldn't kill him. Why? Because that was a standard. Finish this.
And Judah said, the strength of the bearers of burdens is decayed, and there is much rubbish, so that we are not able to build a wall. And our adversaries said, they shall not know, neither see, till we come in the midst among them, and slay them, and cause the work to cease. And it came to pass that when the Jews which dwelt by them came, they said to us 10 times, from all places whence ye shall return unto us, they will be upon you. Therefore set I in the lower places behind the wall, and on the higher places I even set the people after their families, with their swords, their spears, and their bows. And I looked and rose up, and said unto the nobles, and to the rulers, and to the rest of the people, be not ye afraid of them. Remember the Lord, which is great and terrible, and fight for your brethren, your sons, and your daughters, your wives, and your houses. And it came to pass when our enemies heard that it was known to us, and God had brought their counsel to naught, that we returned, all of us, to the wall, everyone unto his work. And it came to pass from that time forth, that the half of my servants wrought in the work, and the other half of them held both the spears, and the shields, and the bows, and the habergeons, and the rulers were behind all the house of Judah. They which builded on the wall, and they that bare burdens, with those that laid it, every one which one of his hands wrought in the work, and with the other hand held a weapon. For the builders, every one had his sword girded by his side, and so they built it. And he that had sounded the trumpet was by me. And I said unto the nobles, and to the rulers, and to the rest of the people, the work is great and large, and we are separated from the wall, one from another. And in what place thereof ye hear the sound of the trumpet, resort ye thither unto us. Our God shall fight for us. So we labored in the work, and half of them held the spears from the rising of the morning till the stars appeared. Likewise, at the same time said I unto the people, let every one his servant lodge within Jerusalem. that is at night, that may guard to us, and labor on the day. So neither I, nor my brethren, nor my servants, nor the men of the guard which followed me, none of us put off our clothes, saving that every one put them off for washing.
That was dedication. They didn't change their clothes except for washing. People were saying there's too much rubbish, too much stuff in the way, man. We can't do this. Everybody began to scatter. But hold on. I said, listen, trust in the Lord. He was strengthening us. Be encouraged. Be not fearful. Remember God when you're pushing forward.
Yes.
And how terrible He is. Fight for your wives and your daughters. And so don't let the enemy just come in and take over everything like this. And so they rose up to the occasion. Amen. They worked with one hand and had their sword on another. Church, they praise the Lord. We need to go forward. Amen. Preaching this gospel, and with our other hand, have our hands on the weapons that God has given us to fight the spiritual warfare. Amen. We need to have a mind to work and a mind to fight for that which is right. Amen. They didn't sleep. They gave the trumpet. If there was trouble over here, blow the trumpet, and we'll all come together as one. If it was trouble over here, we'd come over there. But, hey, we never sleep nor slumber. While some sleep, others hold the spirit. While the others sleep, the others hold the spirit. We will keep watch. Now you understand when Jesus said, watch as well. And that's where we're at. The trumpet is being blown. The call is being made. It's time to build. Continue to build. All those that have a mind to work, pray about it. God, give us those that are dedicated at this time. Who's ever locked at this time. It is. Give it to us. When David went to bring back his family from Ziklag, he had 600 men. He rolled so fast, only 400 could keep up with him, 200 couldn't. When they got back, he was angry. The men were angry with him. These men that stay behind, they're not going to be blessed. But no, David set a new rule. The men that stay behind will get the same blessings as those that went out to battle. Everybody has a lot to see. He said, that's how our families got taken before. We didn't leave nobody behind. Some of you may not be able to run yet. But you got to stay behind, help take care of the house.
Yes.
But them that can run, get ready. I feel a virtue. Because it's time to build. It's time to really set a standard. For that anyone, save a son, that looks into the tabernacle, they can see Jesus. I want them to see Jesus. You know, people watch these videos. Y'all don't know it. Or I subscribe to this, it may show just a little, but no. They're watching these videos all over the world. So when I travel, they tell me. And sometimes over and over and over again. And one brother said, Bishop, what's wrong with these folks? Tocad don't dress like that, don't act like that. And I wonder how he knows. Because every week they pull it up in their services. And they look at you all. And they don't see a lot of things. So they say that's not how Tocad carries themselves. They call us Tocad around the world.